Microsoft. And I'm excited to invite on today's show a longtime friend of mine and our guest today, Max Devlin from Logitech. Hey, Max.
Hey Rob, thanks for having me today.
Oh, no, I'm super excited about the discussion. And I've known you for many years now, and we've done a lot in the Microsoft ecosystem together. So really looking forward to this discussion. But I know you, but our audience doesn't. So maybe you can take a minute and just kind of introduce yourself, a little bit about your background and where you're at today and what you're doing.
Sure, thank you so much. I'm Max Devlin. I'm a global headset specialist with Logitech. I have over a decade in the enterprise headset space and really excited to be here and speak with you a little bit about the Microsoft Alliance and how to help support the people that you're working with from the experience I've been able to gain over the years, and excited about what's coming up with Microsoft voice updates on new teams very soon.
Yeah, no, and we'll get to that. I'm looking forward
Okay.
to that. I mean, I'm a big fan of Teams, so I've worked with it for a long time, but you have a really interesting perspective on working with Microsoft, and I'd love to get you to share that with the audience and maybe give us some examples of kind of your thought process around that.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. I think that a lot of us are really good at our business, but we're not always great about our business. And what I mean by that is that we get really caught up in whatever wonderful widget or service it is that we have to offer, but we don't really think about how it fits into the context of other people and how they're doing business and what their objectives are, right? And I think it's a little bit of just being what you need to be in doing the things rather than focusing on the actual product, right? So, one example of that is that I got laid off very early in COVID, and that was a really hard time to be job hunting. And I realized that in order to really show up authentically and to really come forward with my natural best skills, I needed to do it in an account director way. So I actually got myself a free instance of HubSpot. I loaded all of my targets. I managed my progress through each of those opportunities. And it gave me a visual on how to work things backwards, what I needed to be doing to network, how to help other people in my networking, and really just put on the makeup and shoes every day to sit at my computer and do this, right? And really
Yeah,
be the things and think just outside of the immediate, oh my goodness, I need a job kind of mentality, right?
right.
So I think that when it comes to working with Microsoft, there are a few different ways that dynamic plays, right? So, again, considering where you fit into the ecosystem. So, as someone who's really headset focused, looking at the ecosystem, who else is concerned about voice, right? Partnering with
Mm.
people who sell desk phones, although that's not as common these days, right? And obviously with people who are putting Microsoft Teams forward for voice applications. And so I think really understanding the Microsoft reps as you approach them, how to speak that language and where you fit in. Is really important, right? You have to be able to explain it to them, why it's important to them, really understand their objectives. I think you know that they have, like all of us, again, about our business, have quarterly objectives. So, doing your homework to really understand what the current objectives are and trying to figure out how you can fit in to help those people accomplish their objective.
Yeah, I love that. I love the fact that you had the discipline to put that information into a CRM and to sort of follow the process. And I think that's such a critical lesson learned for Microsoft partners is that selling inside of Microsoft or trying to partner with Microsoft is no different. Or there's a lot of similarities between just trying to connect with customers, or in your case, to try and find that next opportunity. And so that's super valuable, and I think a big lesson to take away from that experience.
Yeah, thank you. I think start with them and understand what it is they need, and then do what you need to do to be able to fit in, right, and be part of the solution, not just more noise.
Yeah, and I think that, well, that's another great point is that being part of the solution and to your earlier point about understanding what they call scorecard metrics are. what are they trying to achieve in that quarter or that month or whatever it might be, and being able to align to that and have your talk track aligned to what's important to them is critical.
Yeah, don't rely on them to educate you, right? Go out and figure out what licenses best align to what it is that, your solution supports, and then understanding what the objectives are around that, right?
Right, and I think that it's interesting too, as you're saying that, I'm kind of thinking about, having partners like yourself that just add to my story as a Microsoft partner. So if I'm coming to the table with a robust and complete team solution, it's not just one partner many times. And so, thinking about this from a more broad perspective of, bringing all the players together is super powerful and super interesting to me.
Yeah, thank you. I think so too. I think that, when you can succinctly explain to people what your part is in the equation, you make it
Mhm.
easy for them, right? And then when they understand that you understand it, they're more likely to speak with you.
Right, right. And so I'd mentioned that in your role that you do work with Microsoft partners. Is that a fair assumption?
Yes, absolutely, with partners and with end customers. And quite honestly, the piece that I bring to the table is all around the team's voice infrastructure because end user customers are spending millions of dollars for their voice infrastructure, but the headset is the last 3 feet, right? And it's
Yeah.
100% of the user experience. And so I know that so many people see it as a commodity and a disposable, piece of equipment. But when you really frame it in that context of, hey, you did spend millions and millions of dollars. Do you really want to drop the ball on how you deliver it to the user? Because if you don't do it properly, you're setting yourself up for problems later. Right. And I think that that just makes the light bulb go on. And
Yeah.
whatever it is that your partners are offering, if they can again succinctly put it into context and how it relates for the Microsoft sellers and Microsoft customers, I think that's really key. It doesn't have to be super complicated.
No, agreed, agreed. And so I'd be interested on your take then is, just using that example you had there is, what are some of the things that you see really successful Microsoft partners do that, when it's either partnering with you or just going forward in terms of their customer engagement or their engagement with Microsoft, what are some of those things that you've seen, getting to sort of be on the outside looking in that have been successful, and then maybe some things that haven't been?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that it really comes from understanding the other players. Again, I think it's really about being about your business, really understanding what the value is versus your competition, really doing your homework to stay on top of what the objectives are for Microsoft and seeking out those opportunities to get in front of people. And whether that's partnering with people in the ecosystem to say, hey, this is my customer, they probably could take advantage of hearing from you, or hey, you know what, I think that this is how you're approaching the Microsoft sellers or Microsoft customers. Have you thought about this? This is where I can support you and really help you to close the deal. And very specifically with sellers who've been tasked to sell Microsoft Voice, saying, hey, I can
Mhm.
handle all of the back end on the devices and that last 3 feet. And I'm going to come in and actually talk about not just the devices, but how to help them deploy, how to facilitate adoption, how we're going to make things easy on the back end for support, right? And you come with a full story, then it really takes the burden off of them and puts it squarely where you have strong capabilities, right? Whatever it is that your value add is.
Right, right. And I love that, one of the things I heard there is that you're coming to the table solving a problem for the Microsoft seller. That Microsoft seller, they've spent all this energy and time, convincing the customer that Teams voice is the way to go. But to your earlier point, there's just still this huge hurdle of as a Teams a salesperson at Microsoft, I'm not bringing to the table a lot of devices in terms of how to handle that user experience. So being able to answer that for the seller is super powerful. I love that.
Yeah, thank you. I wouldn't expect them to be familiar with my portfolio either, right? That's the thing,
Yeah.
is nobody's going to care about what I'm doing as much as I do, right? So I think it's Also fine tuning what the story is for that Microsoft seller to say, hey, you know what? I know you've got an objective to sell voice licenses this quarter. So, if you want to do some account mapping with me, we can look at your targets that have X license and you're trying to upgrade them here. I'd be happy to support you with some eval units as a way to approach your customer and say, hey, we really think you would benefit from Microsoft voice application and whatever license is required at that point in time because it changes. And I'm happy to bring in a headset expert who can help you or even just give you a couple of devices to test it out, and it gives them a reason to kick that door open.
Right. Well, it's like you become their easy button for that customer experience, and that's the value that you bring. Like in a heartbeat, it really is amazing that And I think it's one of the things partners need to understand is you have to be the easy button for Microsoft, and I know Max, you have figured that out long, long ago.
Thank
So
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So well, let's transition a little bit, and I'd love to hear from you on some of the things that you're excited about, either in your own product portfolio or that Microsoft's doing around Teams Voice.
Mm. Oh, yes, on both of those topics. Thank you. So, Logitech is really tripling down investment wise on enterprise headsets. So, we've got some great devices in our portfolio now. There are a lot of terrific things on the roadmap that I'm really excited about bringing to market. And in conjunction with that, Microsoft is actually making some changes soon with the release of native Bluetooth. So, for anybody who's been a wireless headset user on a UC platform, you know that it always comes with the USB receiver or the dongle in the box. And it's been a challenge my whole career to get IT folks to really require that their users enforce the use of that dongle. So, with native Bluetooth, Microsoft is actually taking the secret sauce out of the dongle and putting it into the OS, which means for the first time ever, you can have a Teams certified wireless device that does not require the USB receiver. So it's all about ditching the dongle, and I'm really
I
excited.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you. So Microsoft is planning to introduce that capability shortly, and I can tell you that Logitech is really well prepared with a good, better, best portfolio of native Bluetooth devices to support Teams. So again, the story is ever changing, and now
Mhm.
it's going to be my focus to educate the customers, the Microsoft sellers, and the partners on what is native Bluetooth and why do people care and why do they need it. And I think that there are a lot of stories behind that, right? Obviously, Microsoft invested a great deal to bring this capability to market, and it's going to be cost savings on headsets. It's going to be an easier plug and play experience. Relieve one of those valued ports on your laptop, right? So
Right.
I think that it's really exciting and very innovative on Microsoft's part. I'm really excited for Logitech to be able to collaborate.
Yeah, no, that is. I mean, it's just the one ditching the dongle. Love that. So, but to free up that port and then just to make the experience so much more seamless for the customer, you literally just put the headset on and you go. It's That's great. I love that, and it's another opportunity for Microsoft partners to get in front of their customers and share this kind of innovation. Another great thing to talk to customers about and to help them plan their roadmap as they're looking to improve devices or improve the user experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also really understanding the context, right, of how people work. Think about how many of us are hybrid, right? So many people
Yeah,
are 3 days in the office and 2 days at home. And, where's that USB adapter, that receiver, right? So it's just
right.
one less thing. It's one less thing to worry about. And when you take all of those elements together about not losing your dongle, freeing up a port, having a reduced cost, easier plug and play, all of a sudden, right, you package that up in a really great story that's actually serving the customer.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more.
Thank
Well,
you.
Max, this has been a lot of fun. I've so enjoyed having you on the show today. Now, if people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to reach out and connect with you?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm Devlin at Logitech.com, and you can also find me on LinkedIn.
Great. And if you're okay with it, Max, I will put your email and LinkedIn profile right in the show notes so that
Yes,
people can
please.
connect with you. And again, thank you so much, Max. I enjoyed it and I look forward to our next chat.
Thanks, Rob. Thank you so much for inviting me and for all the good work that you do and supporting customers to navigate the Microsoft world. It can be challenging sometimes. And I know that you have deep knowledge. It's great that you have the opportunity to share it. Thank you.
Oh, no, it's been my pleasure. And for those Microsoft partners watching, if you haven't reached out to Max and you don't know about the things Logitech's doing, highly encourage you to do that. Max is a wealth of